Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to our Day 3 coverage of Royal Ascot 2025 with the Informed team, as we had bucket loads of winners. Stad tipped up by Laura Joy and others as well on the Final Furlong podcast, given a huge mention, of course, by Aidan O'Brien. When Laura put him up, he was a 12-1 shot. Also in the Coventry. That was one of many good results for us in the Final Furlong podcast. Hats off to George Gorman, Peter Michael with Docklands and the Queen Anne, Andy Newton contributing winners, obviously Adam Mills banging them in as well. We hope that we can get you some more winners along the way. Let's begin with Flying 5 for the Norfolk Stakes. Aidan O'Brien's won the first juvenile race of the meeting. Can he win another one? He's got the red hot favourite Charles Darwin, who's 11-10, and he's a brother to a horse who was beaten at Royal Ascot. Blackbeard, very well fancied for a Coventry back in the day, but prepped in the same race River Tiber won before going on to Coventry's success. He looks very exciting. Overall, Adam, what do you make of Charles Darwin, and does he deserve to be 11-10 favourite?
Yeah, he definitely deserves to be favourite. Whether I'd really want to be taking 11-10, I'm not too sure, but take a Stad one today, or Stad, I think as he should be called, then that would be interesting. Did he need to improve to win the 4-runner race at Naas? Probably not, but his top speed was 43.59 miles an hour, half a second quicker over the last 2 furlongs. He's run the fastest opening furlong in all 3 starts, so we know he's going to break really well. Big, long stride, over 7.5 metres. He's got everything you want to win on the straight course at Ascot. The draw looks all right. Ryan Moore knows what he's doing. I'm reluctant to say he's bombproof, but I'm not in any particular rush to take him on either. The only other kind of note I've got is around the French runner for Henri Francois Pavin called Afghan. Quite ballsy of Al Shakab to come here. There are plenty of softer options for similar prize money later in the season in France, but his debut win at Chantilly was very impressive, mainly because he was last with 2 furlongs to run. Generally speaking, if you're last with 2 furlongs to run on the straight course at Chantilly, you've got no chance. And he absolutely flew from last to first. The second for France Saint Graffard was really well backed on the day, 15-8 favourite, and they were 6.5 best. Time was really good. Afghan could run into a place, but I'm just thinking Charles Darwin might be a little bit of a monster, and with such a long stride, I really think if he gets a clear run, he probably wins.
Oof. Is stall 15 any concern to you?
We're recording this on Tuesday night. We've had 1 day's racing. I don't think there's any evidence yet of a particular draw bias. But the problem with saying that is we had the most ridiculous renewal of the Queen Anne I've ever seen. The pace was horrendous. It just fell apart. We had the Coventry Stakes, big field, but 1 superstar. But to be fair, the placed horses came from all over the track, so that's not impossible. And that's all we've really seen. I mean, you can't really judge the King Charles III because that, if you look at the way that is at the 2 furlong pole, they're basically 10 wide. So there's no obvious real track bias at this stage. I'm not really worried about stall 15 because a bit like Gustad, if you look at the commentary today, the far side group are ahead at halfway and Gustad just powers away. It doesn't really matter. And I think I don't think this is a very deep race. So it's not like there are going to be 4 or 5 in one particular side that's going to really get going. And I think this lad be proved to be a lot better than them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The one thing that would sort of be in the back of my mind slightly is, even going back to 2013 here, No Nay Never. He was a 4-1 shot. No winning favourite, Andy. And I know you love your stats. You're bigger on form, but is that a concern for you? Because the margin for error over 5 furlongs at Ascot is just... There is none, basically. There is no margin for error.
There's not. No, we've had only 3 favourites in the last 22 go in, and I think none in the last 10. And this race has thrown up some absolute stonking winners. I mean, we had 150-1 winner, didn't we? A couple of years ago, 50-1 winner in 2022. So, if there is one race, sort of, in recent years, if you're looking for that mega win, that mega price, this has been the one really. There might be something to go on there with the longer price ones, but as Adam said, it's just a race that just sort of lacks a bit of depth, really, doesn't it? And Charles Darwin, it's 1-14 last time, and there was a little probably glimmer of like that race where you thought, hang on a minute, he's in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
a couple of furlongs out, and then Ryan had to sort of get going, and then obviously we ended up winning by 3 1/4 lengths, and as we know, the stiffer track at Ascot, it's 1/6 on soft ground at Navan as well, and on all those sort of factors, you just think that once it sort of gets going and starts hitting top gear, it's just hard to see anything sort of coming out of the pack really. But the Naval Light is obviously worth a mention, because I know on yesterday's show for Wednesdays, that Oldies Gold, we were all over that, and if that does go in the Windsor Castle on Wednesday, then that's going to advertise the Naval Light for me. That was slowly away on debut. I think it was at Beverley, and again the Ascot track here is more likely to suit Naval Light, the experience, that kind of thing. But you just think with 3 runs under its belt, is going to have the edge in terms of experience here, and it's just hard. I mean, O'Brien's won two of the last 10, 3 in total, but his last winner in this was, I think it was 2017.
Sioux Nation.
Sioux Nation. So he's had a bit of a break, but and then probably look if you are looking for this sort of 50 to 1 sort of dream bet, only because one of the the 100 winner back in 2023 was Ammo Racing. Then I know they had a couple, I think, entered in this earlier in the week, and they've come down on London Boy, first time tongue tie. Look, it won at Brighton, I think, over 5.5 furlongs. Needs to step up massively on that. Draw 1's probably not ideal either, but just as a little, if you are looking at something, only because it's the Ammo boys who have, done it before with a big price one in this race. But Charles Darwin looks the obvious call, unfortunately, really. It's a bit boring, but a race that lacks depth, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to do this off memory. Prince of Lear, Shang, Ali, the Learjet, Perfect Power, Valiant Force, and Shareholder were all either sold or withdrawn from breeze-up sales. So those horses were very, very forward for the breeze-ups, and I just wonder if that breeze-up angle is something we should be looking at for this race, or is it just the fact that, well, Charles Darwin wasn't being offered at a breeze-up and he's the best of them, so it doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Go on, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the best horse in the world at the breeze-ups, but if Frankel had come out of the breeze-ups, we'd all be saying that. So I don't really... The breeze-ups is definitely an angle with the early season 2-year-olds, because they're taught to sprint and they're taught to quicken because you want them to look good on the breeze-up sale. But when we get to Royal Ascot, it doesn't matter how good a breeze-up horse you are. If you're going to bump into something like Charles Darwin, who, let's face it, if he wins this, will be talked about as a Guineas horse. Well, then, it doesn't really matter what you bump into. I wouldn't have any real worries about that. What I do like to look for is horses that lengthen and horses that really look like they're going to gallop through the line. It's no coincidence that Gustad had really good stride length stats today before he won, and Charles Darwin has equally good stride length stats. Unfortunately, because Stad won today, you won't get the price about Charles Darwin, but very occasionally in 2-year-old racing, it's just bloody obvious. And I think I just couldn't find a reason to lay him, so I'm quite happy sitting on the fence and letting the favourite win.
Yeah, and Aidan told us on the podcast about 2 years ago on the Final Furlong that he prefers it when a horse gets beaten first time up, because they then don't have to put them into a black type race. They can give them a little bit more experience. And that's what happened to Charles Darwin. He was odds-on favourite for his debut, gets beaten, then wins by 5.5 lengths. 14 to 1 on against Cardiff by the Sea. A horse that was talked up by Charlie. You'll know how that horse has fared in the Queen Mary between now and then. But I believe that horse is held in very high regard, and the fact that Oisin Murphy rides would say an awful lot. Charles Darwin's going to take the beating. Andy, are you with Charles Darwin as well? Final selections? Wrap it up.
Yeah, Charles Darwin, yeah. I mean, I was just having a quick look. It's 50 to 1 for the Guineas next year. If you do like that kind of thing, looking ahead. So obviously, Albert Einstein and his winner today are a lot shorter. But if it wins this well, that 50 to 1 is going to be long gone.
Oh, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. Given Aidan's record in the Guineas these days, since 2019 he hasn't won it, and he's a speedball. I don't think they'll be going anywhere near that. This will be like they ran Little Big Bear in the Guineas, but I don't think they care about it anymore. The Guineas is a prep for the St. James's Palace Stakes, mate. Ignore it. The King George V, they care more about the French Guineas than they do about that. King George V Stakes, Heritage Handicap. We've got That man again, Aidan O'Brien, serious contender with Ryan Moore, 3-1 favourite. Light as Air is the one I was a little bit more interested in. First time cheek pieces for him, Wayne Lorden on board at 12 shot. But outside of the Ballydoyle duo, in fact there's 3, we've got Merchant for William Haggis and Tom Marquand, 7-2. Masai Moon for Charlie Appleby. Oh, rough day one for Charlie Appleby at Royal Ascot. Let's see. Maybe the 2 boys were right. Maybe Cinderella's Dream won. Maybe I was right. Maybe Fallen Angel won. You know we don't. This is like a time capsule. You know this stuff, but we're back in time. Sing us a song for the Becketts and James Doyle, an 8-1 shot. Okay, Adam, who's going to take the King George V Heritage Handicap, my friend?
Oh, this is really hard, made even harder by the fact that everything that you think would have a real chance is drawn quite high.
Yeah.
So there's going to be sort of, as you saw today, races like the Wolferton, there's just this sort of scrap to get into positions, and it gets really messy at the start and at the finish. How do I see this race? I mean, Merchant, for me, I'd have Merchant as favourite. I think the form is quite solid. I thought he ran really well at York. He hit the front of halfway, which probably wasn't ideal, but he had enough left still to run the fastest final furlong. He's got a bit of an early pace. He should be in the right position on the I'd be against Masai Moon, not necessarily because I'm a Godolphin hater like Emmet, but just because I'm not convinced this horse has shown anything so far. He's won 2 races, but both of them are really slowly run. Finishing speeds are over 110%. And I know, it didn't go to plan at Newmarket, but he was beaten 29 lengths. And then suddenly I'm looking at, his third favourite for a Royal Ascot Handicap. I'm just not convinced by that. The one I do like is Gunship. Only had the one start on turf, which is a slight concern, but he was, he's only 3 lengths behind Singer's Song at Sandown, given far too much to do, really quickened up the hill, did some nice late work, made no mistake at Newcastle next time. Warhawk has come out and won his next 2 starts, and a really good top speed. I mean, this thing is by Sea the Stars, got a long stride, but he's a half-brother to the Irish 2000 Guineas winner, Phoenix of Spain. So there should be a little bit of turn of foot in there as well. I thought Gunship was a fair price at around 10-1, and I think from stall 10, if nothing else, from what I've seen of the video, I've never seen him in person, but I've seen him on the videos, he looks like he's quite a big lad, and he looks like he fancies a scrap. So I could sort of see, if it does get a bit messy, where back away, I could see Gunship being the kind of I'll push you out the way because of my size. So I'd like that angle. I think he'll really relish the trip at Ascot. I think he'll gallop up the hill. I'm sure there's extra places for this race, so I'm quite happy to take an each-way poke at Gunship.
Right race, wrong horse. Sing us a song. Sing us a song, baby. Rafe Beckett, he's a great trainer, but his wins at Royal Ascot come in handicap company, and they come in this race. He won it in 2021 with Surefire. He won it last year with Going the Distance. The high draw is going to help. Watman have stepped in and bought him. They want more winners. They've got one today. I think they'll get another one here by Camelot out of Galileo. High draw, James Doyle. If you even wanted to, you could bring in the whole Field of Gold. Oh, he was only 9 lengths off Field of Gold. I think that's ambitious. But Sing as a Song, I'd be fairly strong on here. Andy?
If you Emmet, 100%. I mean, I think Beckett had a few entered in this earlier in the week, and this one that they've come down. And I know, Adam said, the form is tied in with Gunship. I think that day there was £3 between them, and it's exactly the same here. And it's 3 and a bit lengths or something between them. And I know Gunship's come out and won since, but all that's doing is advertising the form of Sing Us a Song. And if you look in going back to that race as well, the 5th. I think it's a horse called Many Man that's come out and won. Even the 6th is one. Another horse called Circus of Rome, and the 7th, a horse called Hot Cash, actually ran second as well. So that's really deep form going back there. The 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 7th have all franked it. So and as you say, he's won it a couple of times in the last 4 years. Loves target in this race, and it looked beaten last time as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And the way it went on, it just gutsy. And when you watch that race back and you think, I can't remember the name of the horse now, I think it was it Urban Glimpse or something. It came to it and you thought, well, it's gonna take it and go past it. And then when you look at the sort of winning distance of 2.25 lengths, you think, how did it end up going again? After it led away, most of the home straight up at Sandown. So I think the extra 2 furlongs here is going to be fine. Camelot, And yeah, I just think I'm not quite sure. They're similar prices. I don't know if they're 8, 9s or 10s, both of them, Gunship and Sing Us a Song. So, and yeah, look, Merchant. I mean, we haven't spoke about the O'Brien horse. It's probably going to be favourite, that serious contender. I mean, he's got has he got 3 in it, O'Brien?
He's got 3. Light as Air, Propose, and Serious Contender.
Yeah. So look, Ryan Road proposed the last twice. When it won as well. So the fact he's coming off and going on Serious Contender, you have to sort of respect that. Adam mentioned the draw is probably not ideal, 21, so it's going to require a bit of more magic, more so than in the race today when he's riding for the King. But hopefully he doesn't get in a bit of a like that one. But look, I think O'Brien's only won this race once as well, and that was 2019. But yeah, I just think there's more to come from Sing Us a Song, and hopefully Beckett can continue his good run in the race.
He's on the wrong one, isn't he, Andy? He's on the wrong one. He should be on Light as Air. First time cheek pieces. He's a brother to Continuous. He's stepping up and Trip. Love the ground. He's on the wrong one.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he picked the wrong one in the Derby, didn't he? So maybe it was a tough decision. I don't know, but the price differences between them, it's 14 to 1 and 7 to 2. I mean, a lot of that's going to be because of Moore's choice, but. Totally agree. I mean, I wouldn't put you off Light as Air, especially if the first time cheap pieces, eke out a bit more. But
I think we're going to end up getting a bigger price about him. Sean Levy's on Propose. Wayne rides Light as Air. He's 12s is the price I'm currently seeing. I think he'll drift out further, and if he does, I'll take it. But I'm with Sing As a Song. I think he's the one who will win. But Light as Air shaped really well. Mark of 89. I specifically mentioned him to Aidan in the stable tour. And he went, he's better than the Mark of 89. So I don't understand. Maybe it's very obvious. Don't question Ryan Moore. But wouldn't be too worried about the high draw either. But I'd go with Light as Air of the Aidan O'Brien horses anyway. Q Propose is the one who goes and wins. Okay, the 340 is the Ribblesdale Stakes over a mile 4. Paddy Toomey has got Catalina Del Carpio, Billy Lee, Royal Ascot winning jockey on board. Serenity Prayer is shaped well behind Whirl on only her second career start. That form worked out pretty well. Oisin Murphy for Andrew Boulding 7-2 in the Coolmore Silks. But the Coolmore real one is Garden of Eden for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Both of them have got a fantastic record in this race, 11-2. And obviously, Aidan O'Brien has been dominating with the 3-year-old fillies. Is this a bridge too far for them, though, Adam?
This is a very deep race, very deep. Lots you can make a case here for. Lots of classic form that ties in. So Serenity Prayer, as you mentioned, she gave Whirl a decent race. That went on to be second in the Oaks. Catalina Del Carpio took on the boys at Leopardstown. To chase home, we might take the long way. I think I said that right at Navan. He was 4th in the Derby. She had quite a short stride compared to him, but that's probably understandable. But still ran the fastest Final Furlong. She's back in Philly's company. This is tricky. I'm not entirely sold yet on Garden of Eden. I know she won that Oaks trial, but it was a falsely run race and she was ideally placed. And her top speed figure was 7th of 8, which kind of would just ring 1 or 2 alarm bells that maybe they pushed her forward because they're not sure about her speed. I mean, the one that's probably overpriced is Caspi Star, who's run at Chester, 3 lengths behind the Oaks with a Mini Hawk. That's some pretty solid form.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of I'm leaning towards a Sylvester de Souza special from stall 1, where we sort of try and stack them up, get off that bend and get a run and at least hold on for a place. Not a race I've got a strong opinion on. Caspi Star, if it's double figures, I'll be backing each way. But I just don't like Garden of Eden. It means Ryan Moore will win this by 4 lengths.
Well, they've got some record in the race. Even Song, Magic Wand, shout out Warm Heart. What a horse. And Port Ferry, who somehow won this race last year before completely derailing. But I don't know, Andy. I like Garden of Eden. I don't like her so much that I want to take 11-2 here, though.
No, the price, I think I'm looking at slightly bigger as well. I mean, that would be the sort of alarm bells. And you just probably say, is it a tad exposed in a race like this? Is something just going to have a bit more improvement? I mean, it's had 8 runs now. I know it looked sort of better than ever, stepped up in trip last time out for the first time over, was that a mile, sort of 2.5 or something, wasn't it? So, that did bring out some improvement, but 8 runs. And yeah, O'Brien has won this 5 times. He's actually joint at the moment with, I think Henry Cecil, Bin Surur, Dunlop and Gosden are all locked on 5 winners. So If O'Brien or Gosden can win, then they'll go outright in terms of the history of this race. So I think personally, the one that will have, well, the two that will probably have the most improvement still to come are Serenity Prayer, the horse that ran second to Well at York in the Musadora. Obviously, as Adam said, that form's been 100% franked. Ran on very, very well that day to suggest that the extra 2 furlongs here is going to be absolutely fine. And the other one, very similar profile in terms of like the fact it ran on well last time is the Gosden one. Funny enough, Life is Beautiful. Second to that, Falakea, and that goes in the coronation on Friday. So, this is going to be before that. So we'll see if that form gets franked. But I mean, it was only, but it was 3 1/4 lengths between them at Newmarket in that Pretty Polly. But when you watch that back, it was doing its best work, wasn't it, in the last furlong or two? So another 2 furlongs here. Happy with that, really. Life is Beautiful. I think there'll be a lot more to come, and I'll punt those two against the rest of the field, possibly. I think Gosden's got 2 more in there, isn't he? I think Go Boots is first time blinkers, probably has a bit to prove after last time out. He's got 1 at a big price at Understudy, which I think it got off the market, some rubbish race at Southall or something. But the fact they're putting it in here, you have to sort of just stand up a little bit and go, why are they pitching it in here? Because it's not. I mean, like Adam said, it's a deep race, but it's not a great race, is it? It's not a great renewal. It's not like a vintage Ribblesdale, is it? So, in my opinion, anyway, I just think that is there really going to be a superstar that comes out of this in the years, later in the season or next year season? Don't know. I might be proved wrong, but it just doesn't look like a vintage renewal to me.
Isn't there a mistake in the betting here?
With
Dylan Brown McMonagle riding for Aidan O'Brien is on the 14-1 shot Island Hopping. Wayne Lorden rides 20-1 shot Ecstatic, who's down 1 this race. And 22s, in fact. That's probably with a bookmaker who'll pay you €1. He'll let you get a euro on. It's by a Japanese sire, Lord Canula. Magic won this race back in 2018. She was second in a Group 3 at the Curragh on good ground back in April, and she was checked for a run back in Newbury. Now, she's beaten 5.5 lengths. You watch it back, it's not that bad, but it's bad enough that it affected her. She's the second pick, and she's 22s. That doesn't make sense.
You've seen it before, as you said yesterday. You've seen it many a time with O'Brien second, third strings and stuff. So and the same with the Gosden. So
4.5 lengths off Desert Flower. I'm going to back Ecstatic at 22-1. That's too big a price. Okay, final selections for the Ribblesdale.
Caspi Star each way for me.
Okay, and Andy?
I Serenity Prayer, the main one, but Life is Beautiful's the danger. The 1-2.
Okay, so Serenity Prayer 7-2, Life is Beautiful 7-1. It's 12-1 about Caspi Star for Adam, and I'm going to take a swing for Ecstatic for Wayne Lorden. Aidan O'Brien and these fillies. They're in another league entirely. Speaking of another league, Gold Cup, feature race of the week, the oldest race at Royal Ascot, 2 mile 4, no more Kyprios, but never mind. He was a legend. Yates behind me, absolute hero. Is there going to be another heroic superstar for Ballydoyle as Illinois steps up, having won the Queen's Vase a year ago? His form is ridiculous. Los Angeles, Jan Bruegel, they've all come out to win Group 1s. Saucy, another Group 1 winner. If he stays at a Mills, he surely wins. I'm
certain he stays. I just think he needs the race to be run at a decent gallop. Because the one thing Illinois does not have is a turn of foot. So the way to get him beat is to try and stack him and then kick. Ryan Moore surely is capable of making sure that doesn't happen. I'm a little bit surprised Ballydoyle didn't plot out some kind of pacemaker in here just to make sure. As I think as Aidan said, Los Angeles at the top of the pecking order. So poor old Continuous can't run 2 days in a row, unfortunately. So Illinois is in here. But, I mean, this is a really hard race to have a bet in because it's between the 3 of them, isn't it? I think there's quite I think you've got Illinois, Trawlerman and Candelari. And then in my head, and probably on the ratings as well, you've got a £10 gap to the rest. Wonder Legend and Yashin might improve, but I don't really see them suddenly finding a stone because they're going up to an extreme trip. Coltrane's long past his best. Sweet William would be too slow for 4 miles, let alone 2.5. I just can't have him.
No,
I just can't have him. I'm sure he's a lovely horse. He always runs his race, but I've watched back his recent starts and I think, how can you possibly be getting outpaced at this kind of extreme trip? It just makes no sense. It's kind of...
Is it the scumbag each way bet though in this?
No, I don't think it is. I just don't. I think he'd finish 4th because he'd still be, even if he just every race he runs.
Rebels Romance didn't stay on mile 6, and Rebels Romance beat him.
Yeah, and he's 3rd in this last year. He's got really good form, but if you look at the one race he did win at Doncaster, kind of fell in his lap a little bit. I was kind of thinking Sweet William. The one thing that they might try is just to lead and just see what happens.
Yeah,
because he does stay forever and he might go on. I really haven't made up my mind on this, but what I think I'll have to back is Candelari, because I just think there's a chance here that there's not too much pace. And if this develops into a sprint, Candelari will win. Oof. But the problem for Candelari is we don't know if he's going to stay the 2.5 miles, if it's a test. And that's a risky bet, so it'd be a very small stake, but I'd be thinking if this was slowly run and nothing really, and they sort of hacked around in 13, 14 second furlongs, a 3 furlong sprint on Candelari, he will win. But it's just, if there's any pace at all, I'd be looking to try and lay that off as quickly as possible, because I think he's the one whose stamina is suspect, even if he's the fastest horse in the race.
Is good to firm ground a worry for you with Candelari?
No, not at all. It doesn't. There's nothing for me that would make me think good to firm's a problem. He's by Frankel. Just because the French ground is described as soft does not mean it's soft. In France, you will never, ever, ever find a Group 1 track with the words bon léger, which is good to firm. They just don't have good to firm ground on their records. So you ignore the letters, look at the numbers on the penetrometer. He's run on good ground, as far as I'm concerned, and he handled it fine. He's run on the all-weather. I wouldn't be worried about that at all. He has the kind of action, to me, that looks like he'll skip over it, and I don't think it'll be a problem. It's just, does he... This race is probably going to develop into a test, because there's no way the likes of Ryan Moore and William Buick are going to want to just sit there and turn it into a sprint. And I think Candelari's vulnerable.
Yeah, Time Firm Quality is running the Group 3 back in April, good ground. Just good to firm was just slightly worrying for me, but that's that solved. And Laura Joy put him up at 25-1 on her debut on the Final Furlong Podcast, so she's this close to a massive payday with Candelari. Best of luck to her. Illinois is bred to win an arc, brother to Dane Dream. Then again, he's also a brother of Venice Beach, who didn't quite go on, but I love him. I just think he's going to win, Andy. I think this is ideal for him. He's a Royal Ascot hero already. Look at the form. He was a really impressive winner of the Queen's Vase. He's second in the Grand Prix de Paris to Saucy, second in the Great Vulture to Los Angeles. King's Gambit was in behind, who's franked the form today. Second to Jan Bruegel in the St. Leger. Beats goes to France and wins over a mile 7 in Group 2 company. Wins first time out this season when Aidan O'Brien said his horses were behind and needed the run. He'll win. I'm
with you, mate. I'm with you. Illinois, just look.
See,
I mean, look.
You were in league with George the other day. Now you're in league with me. Here we go. Let's go.
I am. Today, me and you today. But yeah, I agree. Look, I mean, look, with Kyprios out, everyone's going to be like, look, this is Trawler Man's to lose. It came second last year, and it's had a few battles of that over the few seasons gone by. But as I said on the Group 1 Ascot body we did, it's the age. It's the flipping age, 7. Yeah. I can't get over it. I can't get over this 7-year-old thing. And as I pointed out there, if you haven't seen that, since 1930, there's only been 3 winners that have been of the Gold Cup that have been age 7 or older, and they have actually been Yates twice and Drum Taps. Okay, so Yates won it as an 8-year-old as well. And then some people go, well, how many have tried? All right. Well, look, since 2020. So the last 5 years, we've had 12 horses that have been age 7 or older, and they've all bombed out. I think the best that's happened, Kyprios came 3rd. And that was going on to my point. Has there been any big guns, sort of veterans running in this? And Stradivarius is the perfect example. It was 7 when it came 4th in 2021, and it was 8 when it tried again a year later, and it was only 3rd. So that is sort of backs up the age stat for me. I mean, look, Trawler Man, it is the top rated or joint top rated with the French horse. Is a course winner, and it's not the best Gold Cup. So if you are with Trawler Man, I sort of can't really put you off too much. You know, Godolphin have a top record in this race. I won it 5 times. But Illinois just looks like the new kid on the block, really. Is he going to be up? He's not really going to be up to sort of Kyprios, sort of Yates, sort of ilk at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. But he's still only 4. He might do. He might turn out, you know, the step up and trip and what have you. But, you know, being a Ascot winner is a big plus as well. And I just think that it's going to be a lot of people's bankers in it on Ladies' Day, 7-4. I think it'll, I don't know. I think that's just, I don't know. I'm wondering why it's sort of good price. Is that a good price? I don't know. I thought it'd be shorter than that, to be honest. I just thought this just tempting. Sweet William, I think, I know I sort of disagree with you lads a little bit. I think it might just plug on for 3rd, that's all. Only because, look, Ascot, its runs are 2, 3, 3, 3, 2. Never been out of the first 3 at Ascot. Yes, it's going to probably, you know, struggle for pace and getting home and that kind of stuff. But in a race that's just got, you know, Coltrane in it, who's, you know, he came, 5th in it. All right, came 2nd in it in 2023. But that's another 8-year-old. And, you know, even the other Godolphin horses are 9-year-olds. So based on the age stat, you can rule 3 of them out, really, can't you? So all of a sudden, you know, you've got an 8-horse race that's down to 5. One of them's Wonder Legend as well, and the Michael Bell horse. And you know what I mean? It's just sort of the elimination just brings you all back to Illinois.
To be fair to Sweet William, he's never finished out of the first 3.
Yeah.
But I don't think.
Or ever, is it? Has he been out?
Never. He's never been out of the first 3.
Yeah. So that's.
He's consistent. He's just slow.
He is, yeah. But I'm not saying he's going to win. I just think he might. If you're playing like, you know, this is a sort of tri-casty race, isn't it? This, you know, it's.
I don't know, man. I played a few tri-casts today, and they were all a complete disaster. So I'm leaving that. I'm like, I've had enough of that. Thanks very much. Especially when you've got the 1st, 2nd, and 4th in the Queen Anne, you're like, oh, that's enough of that. Thank you. That's stick a fork in that before it's even begun. We're done. Okay, Britannia Stakes, 5 o'clock over the mile in handicap company Labotte for Harry Eustace, the Queen Anne winning trainer, with the main man for the straight track at Ascot, Jamie Spencer, 9-1. 5th column for Jonathan Eddie Gosden, William Buick, and Godolphin, a 10-1 shot. Raffaed, let's go with that pronunciation, shall be the Haggis and Marquand horse, who I think is very interesting. 10s, Brave Mission for Beckett, and Colin Keane, 11-1. Consolidation, Rafe Beckett, James Doyle, 11-1. Adam Mills, who are you with?
Oh, this is like super tough. I mean, I know the Jamie Spencer stat is like you back him each way and straight at mile handicaps, and it's absolutely insane the return that it gives you. So I wouldn't put anyone off backing Labotte. Wouldn't really be on my list, but this is quite tricky. 5th column is one who's open to any amount of improvement. Best top speed figures at Sandown would suggest he's still improving, but he was quite keen, which would be a little bit of a concern. And, you know, Charlie Appleby needs to have a winner before I'm going to tip another one of his. For me, I'm going to have 2 in this, and they're going to be reasonably big prices. The first is Brave Mission, Colin Keane on board for Rafe Beckett. Brave Mission's 2nd here last time out was quite interesting. That was his first start for 245 days, but when I ranked his, they were 2nd, 8th, 10th, 8th, 4th, 4th, and 1st, which kind of confirmed my visual impression that he was running in snatches. But he finished the race really well, beat 4 subsequent winners in his Kempton Novice back in September. I think he'll step forward. Colin Keane takes over, and I think he's going to travel a bit better. I think this horse is better than 92. Stall 20 looks all right on the little bit of evidence we have. I think he's got a good chance at hitting the frame. But if I like Brave Mission, I have to like the horse who is just behind him, and that's Shout for the Crisfords, Rab Havlin, who's drawn next door in 21. So I'm putting all my stall in those 2 stalls, but he's got a really good form. I really like his average stride length, 26.4 feet when he was behind Powerfizz here in May. Big, long striding horse. He's going to stay really well. The strong pace is going to suit. His time's pretty decent. I mean, he clocked a 10.87 second fifth furlong, which, anything dips below 11 seconds rings alarm bells and needs to go in the tracker for me. If he breaks better from the gate and he's on terms, he can hit the frame at a big price. But this is kind of put all the balls in a hat and pull them out, because you need so much luck to win a Britannia.
You really do. And I'll be honest, I don't think I fancy anything strongly here at all. The only one that would be intriguing to me properly is the Haggis Marquand horse, because he was going to go for the Jersey and they're coming to this instead. And that raises an eyebrow for me, Andy.
Yeah, and that actually has got a good draw, if you like, going back on the historical sort of stats on this, because recently you've only had one winner drawn in single figures in the last, I don't know, 6, 9, about 10 years. And 80% of the last 10 winners, right, were drawn between 10 and 19. So that little window. And if you have a look at some of those that are drawn in that little bracket, I think 3 of them are flipping reserves. Right?
Yeah.
So we don't even know whether they're actually going to run. Not quite sure what happens with the draw there, because some of them are drawn like 11. Does it all get moved around? But realistically, that just leaves us with 7, right? Which is the Fingal Raven, which, look, Safi's on that. Jamie Osborne, we know she rides the the track at Ascot well. I mean, that actually came second to Ruling Court last time in Maidan. It hasn't been out for 100 odd days or whatever, but and it hasn't won on the turf yet. It's 0 from 5 on the turf. But I mean, you can't knock that form, and they've obviously kept it back for this for a reason. Fits the draw stat. Tribal Nation's the other one. Joseph O'Brien horse, 3rd at Naas last time out. Stiffer track today, that should suit. Obviously, he had a couple of horses run all right today on day 1. So that would be the other interesting one from draw 12. And the other one is God of War, which has been drawn 19, I think. So that's just about gets in there. And I think a couple of winners have been drawn 19 in the last maybe like 5 or 6 years as well. So that's been a bit of a hot draw as well. Second last time out, Tom for at Chester. And if you watch that race back, that was absolutely flying at the end. I think that was over 7 or 7.5. So extra mile here, extra half a furlong here or whatever. That God of War, I think, as well. So yeah, and then the only other ones that fit that draw stat are Iceford, Rafid, Serengeti, which is the looks like the main O'Brien. He's only got one in it. I think he's got one in it. Yeah,
he's got a reserve as well, Mississippi River.
Oh, is he? Okay. Well, that's so. If you do like the more O'Brien combo, Serengeti's drawn 17, so that falls into that. Remember, 10 to 19, 8 of the last 10 have been drawn in that bracket. So yeah, it's a lottery race, as we know, with 30 odd runners or whatever it is. But if you want to put a bit of history on your side, I mean, look, the Spencer horses. I mean, that was 4th to Cosmic Year. Obviously that form's...
I mean, better form is Hot Shot's form. He's 5 3/4 lengths off Field of Gold, 4 lengths off Upper Ballow, 2 1/4 lengths off Detain. And they stepped him up to 10 furlongs the other day, which wasn't going to suit him. And Richard Hughes pretty much said that afterwards, that shouldn't have done it, but it was just to keep him going for this and go back to the Chelmsford form, go back to the Kempton form. Problem is he's drawn in stall 4 and he's got a mark in 98. But Richard Hughes rode this track brilliantly, and I'm sure he'd love to have a winner there. So
big prize, that one.
Yeah, they punted the 2 ears off him in the novice race at Goodwood too last year. Like, they really smacked the... Yeah. He dead heated for first. Because I remember, like, breathing a sigh of relief. Consolidation was back in 3rd. But they really hammered him that day. I'd say he's pretty decent, but whether this is going to work out for him or not, I don't know. Okay, that's the Britannia. We'll just wrap up final selections. Adam?
We will go for Shout Each Way, obviously, and Brave Mission each way as well.
Andy?
Tribal Nation, God of War. Both big prices as well.
Rafed, whatever the number is. He's the second for the owner, but number 1 for William Haggis and Tom Marquand. Number 25. If Hot Shot's 66 to 1, I'll have a few quid each way on him, but I have a feeling it'll be thrown in the bin. Trinity College and Detain, speaking of, rematch from the French Derby in the Hampton Court Stakes back in 2003, I think it was. Moscow Ballet dropped back from the French Derby, dropping back in class to the Hampton Court Group 3 and won it. Aidan's got a reasonable record in this race, and he's going to be a very, very interesting runner, having bounced back to form last time out in the French Derby, with Aidan saying beforehand, you haven't seen the best of this horse, and then he only goes down a length to Camille Pizarro. They won it with Russian Emperor not so long ago as well, and Hunting Horn. So it's a race that Aidan can win. JRB was a really good winner of this race, though, a year ago. Poor old King's Gambit, who was a little bit unlucky today, was an unlucky fast finishing second who probably should have won. Who is going to win this year, though? Adam Mills.
Well, first thing I'll say is I think Trinity College will reverse form with Detain, mainly because the jockey will be trying to win. But also, sorry, Wade. That was a cheap shot. I shouldn't have gone there, but I did. I just felt that French Derby was a little bit messy. It's always messy, the Prix Jockey Club, because you get a massive field. They start on the camber of the teardrop-shaped track at Chantilly. Everyone drawn wide panics, and some go back and some go forwards. It gets all messy. But what essentially happens is the first 5 or 6 go round the bend and they fill the first 5 or 6 places, which is pretty identical to what happened here. Had Wayne Lorden held the rail, would he have won? Not sure, but I think he did Ryan a favour, let's say that. So, that's the way it goes. I think Trinity College will reverse the form. Detain, to me, had every chance in that Prix de Jockey Club. And I backed him in the Prix de Jockey Club. I thought we were in business at the 2 furlong pole. And as much as Camille Pizarro is a good horse and would be short price favourite for this, it looked like he lacked a little bit of gear in the closing stages. That's the strongest form on offer, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Trinity College reversed it. The one who could come out of the pack, and who we really don't know a great deal about, is Jackknife for Oisin Murphy. Roger Varian has quite a good record at Ascot on the round course. Only had 2 starts. The win on debut at Epsom in April was pretty good. The time and the top speed figures were good. 2 sub-11 second furlongs again. The runner-up and the 5th placed horses both won next time. And then they went straight from there to the listed race at Sandown. 3rd behind Opera Ballo. Probably a bit short of room, forced to switch out wide, but he really liked the way he finished off his race. The lack of experience is an obvious concern. This is a horse who made his debut on the 22nd of April, and here we are on the 19th of June, and he's in a big field at Royal Ascot. But he is going the right way, and I think there is a chance that he could make up into a Group 1 performer by the end of the season, in which case, even with his inexperience, he should be competitive here. I think if I can get 9s or 10s about Jackknife, I'll probably back him. But I kind of expect by this stage, by the time this race goes off, that Trinity College will be favourite. Because there's a very good chance Ryan's winning 2 or 3 winners by this stage anyway. But there's also just a chance, I think, when people really study this form and watch that Prix de Jockey Club back, they'll reach the conclusion that Trinity College could have finished in front of Detain with a different set of tactics.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit disappointed if he doesn't win. Trinity College, that is. Now, I think there's a couple of horses who are interesting in this race. I think Joseph's horse is somewhat interesting, although he only gets second because of a steward's inquiry and a disqualification the other day, so he'd need to improve again. Tornado Alert is fascinating because he's completely unexposed. He's only had the 4 starts. Side Ben Saror, wouldn't he love it if it's the 3rd year in a row where he's the one bailing out Godolphin with the win? He'd love it. He built this with a box of scraps in a cave. They won't give him anything, and he keeps coming up with a good horse. There was a decent run in the Derby when he probably didn't stay. Back down to a trip that's going to suit. If he's come out of that okay, it's 12-day turnaround, but he gets James MacDonald. Form with Field of Gold is obviously very good from the Guineas. He's an interesting runner, but I'm pretty sure Trinity College is going to win this race, Andy.
Yeah, O'Brien's got, he's had 4 wins in this as well. Look, that French Derby form is going to be what everyone sort of clings to. But I'm with Adam here with Jackknife. I think. Okay. I just think that there just might be a little bit more to come. Only 2 runs. That run last time over a mile at Sandown, and when you watch that back, I think Murphy was on it that day as well. And I might be wrong. I might have missed something, but I counted not many hits with a whip. Put it that way. Yeah, it looked like it sort of coasted home a tad. And the winner of that, as we know, that Alpa Ballo is a useful sort. You know, pulls very hard in its races, and you know probably should be if it learned to settle. So you know, to run on third to that over this extra trip, you just think is going to be a bit more to come. And I'd much rather just take a bit of a sort of a gamble on at sort of 9s, 10s that you know that improves up to the sort of level of that sort of French Derby form. Personally, but and yeah, that's it really. I mean, probably the Johnny Murtagh horse just for the Aga Khan again might outrun its odds at 20-1. It was in that race where there was a stewards, I think, wasn't it, where Emmet won it, didn't it? And then it around or whatever, that's thrice, and then it
crazy stuff from the jockey, crazy stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I just think that it looked like it ran up pretty green that day, and I think you know. Might be a bit more to come from that one as well.
Well, you'll know by now, watching this, dear viewer, and listening to this, dear listener, who we obviously value. Have I said it yet, by the way? Have you smashed like? Have you smashed the like button on this? Have you hit the subscribe button? Did you get the gravy? Did you get the wins from day one? You surely smashed like on this. You'll know how Shackleton has got on. If Shackleton has won.
Wasn't it in that race? Yeah.
In the Queen's Vase. Keep an eye on that. This form worked out all right. First, Hot as Hell goes on to win the Futurity. Second, Tennessee Stud goes on to win the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud for juveniles, and third in the Derby. Third, Winlord. Oisin Murphy doing this to find out where Field of Gold is. He didn't do anything. Forget about him. Fifth, Lambourne. In fourth, Trinity College. Alan Smurfett Memorial Beresford Stakes, Group 2, Curragh. Trinity College. By Dubawi, out of a 1,000 guineas winner. He'll win. Good to firm ground. It's a boring selection, but he'll win. Buckingham Palace Stakes, 7 furlongs. We got English Oak back for more Royal Ascot success. Is this just a brilliant piece of placing by Ed Walker? Yeah, do everything we can to get this horse, who was once rated 108, down to a mark of 100, so we can get back to more Royal Ascot glory. Or is the reason he's dropped down to a mark of 100 because he ain't that good, Adam?
Well, I mean, the first thing to say about English Oak is if this wins and I'm Dan Skelton, I'm tweeting to say, come on, BHA, I get a load of bollocks when I do this. What's going on with English Oak? Because this, to me, smacks of the Langer Dan. He's had ulcers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure it has, but it does feel like there's been a plan to get him back. Cheek pieces go on. James Doyle's already ridden 2 winners from even in the first day. Wafnan Racing, everything says going to run a big race. I don't particularly fancy taking 5s or 11-2, but you know, when Langer Dan won that Coral Cup and we all went, it was bloody obvious, and we all spent so much time hurling abuse at Dan Skelton that we didn't realise that it was just going to win, and that might be the case with English Oak. The others I kind of like that. Roy de France has let me down so many times. I can't.
No way.
I just can't do
Never
it
again.
myself.
Never again.
So I'll rule that one out. Never So Brave was one that was on my radar from the ex-Michael Stout system. I think he should have won at Chester on his debut for Andrew Baldwin.
Should have.
He didn't get a clear run in the straight.
Yeah, that was my nap that weekend as well.
Yeah, it was one that I put up as well, and it just Jason Watson just got it all over the place, and he got really messy. But he's up £4. He was 6th in the Jersey last year. You know, it's not going to be easy. But we've got Oisin Murphy on, which will at least negate the fact that we're carrying 9 stone 12. So I'd give him a chance. But on sort of the other side of the draw, I thought Glen Eagle Bay was very interesting. And I kind of thought like this might slip under the radar because it's not with a sort of household name as a trainer. But finished 3rd over course and distance in May, but he ran the fastest final 2. Had the highest top speed figure in the field. He was just slowly away. And if you do that in the Victoria Cup, you're always in a bit of trouble. But he's had form over a mile in Ireland, stays really well. I mean, I don't know how the draw is going to play out because he's in 9 and we've got English Oak, Never So Brave in sort of the high 20s. So quite what will take Glen Eagle Bay into the race, I'm not sure. But I just wonder if he slipped a little bit under the radar because he's trained by Stephen Thorne.
I thought that too, but I think I've seen a few features with Stephen. There's a lot of people want to talk him up, and rightly so. He's a really good trainer, and he's going places very, very fast. But I think you are getting a bit of a price bet him, are you? I'm still scrolling here. I've scrolled past him. I've scrolled past him.
He's right ahead of the market. He's like 17-2 on my screen.
Yeah. They keep. Oh, they've changed the colours. Sorry. Ammo bought him. Okay. Is there anything Ammo haven't bought?
They bought right, didn't they, yesterday?
Yeah, I've got a couple of the kids' bikes for sale on eBay. They can have them if they want.
£2 million sterling of the King's finest sovereigns for Ghostwriter. Mate, what?
Have you seen that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa tells Homer that she's got a rock and it keeps tigers away? And Homer says, that's ridiculous. And Lisa says, do you see any tigers around here, Dad? And he goes, Lisa, I'd like to buy you a rock. It just feels like, I think I texted you last night, Emmet, and said, like, the bloodstock world is just recession-proof. There's no hint of anything else going on in the world. Prices just keep going up. It's like the bubble that never bursts. And when you see the money being spent at those sales and you think, blimey, how on earth is there not enough money in racing?
Did he say, was the quote I saw from him that he's second favourite for the Hardwick? First of all, there was no betting for the Hardwick at all, because I've been looking for it for a while. I wanted to know what price we were going to get on Kalpana and Rebels Romance. I don't think Kalpana will run. Rebels Romance will bounce off that ground and he'll win. He wasn't second favourite anyway. I don't know. I really, really, really want to talk to Keith Bracken on this podcast. I want to have a sit down, proper conversation with him. Are we doing that Jeremy Kyle interview still? That's not a joke, by the way. We actually are interviewing Jeremy Kyle. We need to set that up too.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. So when we're over, like that's what I would do. I would sit down with him as well if we can, preferably with Gary Wiltshire in tow. Anyway, that's a production meeting for another day. Never So Brave wins this.
Are you doing a DNA test reveal with Jeremy Kyle to chat about racing?
Yeah, we do. We've got the results of the DNA test right here, kid.
Yeah.
We can tell you that Ghostwriter is not the father. Oh, man. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Never So Brave will win this. The stout factor, man. These horses are just improving for the stable switch. Speaking of Sir Michael Stout, that's where Kia is now. Got within 4.5 lengths of Hatem. Got within 3/4 of a length of Van Dijk. And he should have won first time up. He really should have. But if he had won, he'd have gone up further in the handicap. They were going to run him in the big race on Saturday, but they don't need to because Saeed Salel is going to win that race with another ex-Sir Michael Stout horse, More Thunder. Never So Brave.
Yes.
This. Yeah, he'll win that. Oisin Murphy, Andrew Balding. Keep it simple. Don't complicate your mind. Never So Brave wins. All right, best bets. Best bets of Thursday, Gold Cup Day. Adam Mills.
You're not going to let Andy have a go at the Buckingham Palace?
I'm so sorry, Andy. I am so sorry. We got so distracted. I got so distracted. They didn't. I got distracted with the Kia Jabrakin stuff that oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Honestly,
Andy, please.
I haven't got a great deal on it, if I'm honest with you.
Great, that's enough. Weird.
That's enough. No, look, just a couple of quick stats on it because it is one of those races where you can probably out. 8 of the last 10, right, were rated 92 to 99, right? So based on that, you can probably rule out the top 12, okay, going right down to English Oak, funny enough, who's rated 100. So yeah, and actually the one after that, J-Ash. But anyway, yeah, so 92 to 99, 8 of the last 10. Only been one winning favourite, which is no surprise really in a race of this sort of, competitiveness. And the last 5 have been won by a 4-year-old. So, chuck all them out of the melting pot and see what you can come back with. But yeah, I haven't got a great opinion on it. The couple I sort of came down on like very loosely were Oliver Show, who came second in the Lincoln, only because I wanted to sort of big that up because we got the Lincoln winner, didn't we, on the show with that Godwinson. So it's had a wean surgery since, and might be a bit more to come from that one. That fits the old rating stat, rated 99. And it's probably worth mentioning Witch Hunter, who won this a couple of years back as well.
Love the fast pace.
Yeah, it's off the same mark, but it's one of those ones that's rated 103. So, but only because it has got history in the race. So, Witch Hunter's probably worth a mention too. But yeah, look, let's move on to the best bets because this is a pin job, really, isn't it? The old Buckingham.
Are you telling me that a mark of a weight of 9 stone 12 is going to screw Never So Brave?
On the stats, yeah. But I mean, look, Never So Brave should have won, as we said. We all put it up last couple. Was it about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it, at Chester, and just got it too late. So, but I certainly wouldn't put you off it at all. But yeah, if you do like your weight stats in this, then it would fall down, unfortunately. But hopefully,
come on, Oisin, lift him. What is it? Blogger says, lift him. History. Okay, all right. Best bets.
What's the one of the Wokingham More Thunder? Yeah,
More Thunder. Yeah. History. That'll be Tom Marquardt. Making an appearance on the Final Furlong Podcast soon, the blogger. Okay, Adam Mills. Who's going to win? Best bets.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired.
I want to at least have one winner this week on this show. So we'll go with Charles Darwin in the Norfolk. I just don't think he'll be beaten.
Yes. Go on, Charles Darwin. All right, Andy.
Illinois Gold Cup. Bomb. Go.
Does any? For the 10. Do you want to put up another one, Adam?
I want to put up another one.
It doesn't sound like you do, but I said I'd give you the option. If
no,
you
I don't know. That's the only one that I'm like.
We put up a joint one. Next best, Jackknife, because you like that one.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll have Jackknife each way next best.
Jackknife each way in the was it the Hampton? Can't remember.
Hampton.
Okay, Illinois is going to win the Gold Cup. I don't even know why we're debating it. It's like, of course he's going to win the Gold Cup. Trinity College is going to win the Hampton Court. I don't care about your weight stats. Never So Brave will win the last. And Charles Darwin is going to win the opener. And then I'll probably do some sort of stupid multiple where we throw in a couple of other ones, including that Ecstatic, who's going to be a stupid price for the fillies race and shouldn't be. Because Wayne is on board, which means she's the second string and she's 20s. So, given the fact that she's out of Magic Wand, who won this race and improved it of all recognition, then I'll go with that. But Illinois, how far does he win the Gold Cup by? We'll be back for day 4 coverage on the Final Furlong Podcast. Spoiler alert: my tip will be January, who, as far as I'm told by close personal friend Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore's going to ride, and you can still get her at 16-1. But Adam Mills will tell me she'll be crushed by.
Yeah, well, actually, we'll come to tomorrow's show. The supplementing of Falakea means I can't. No. I'm going to just quietly retreat from this one because I don't understand how the favourite can be a shorter price now than she was before a serious danger was supplemented in.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
We'll come to that tomorrow.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Zaragana was 6-4 without Falakela, who was headed to the Oaks in France. Then she gets rerouted to this race, and Zaragana goes 11-8. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But also doesn't make any sense that January 16-1. So there we go. Andy Newton, where can we find out more draw stats and excellent content for Royal Ascot?
Sportscasting /UK, because there's an American version, but go to the UK one. There's loads of info on there. Aidan O'Brien stats, trends for all the races each day, all 7 races. So head over there and just go to the horse racing. Find it.
And for those of
the lay of the day, which is on my Twitter handle, which is just here, is doing very good at the moment. So that means tomorrow's one's going to win because I've just been jinxed.
No.
But yeah, we're on a good, because we had a few like first month or two, but we're on a good run at the moment. Something like 2 weeks or something like that.
No, you're on a great run. But of course you're on a great run, Andy. It's you. That's some great content. No, it's some really cool content. And if we're looking for sectional times analysis, for breakdowns and what's been happening at Ascot, where do we go, Adam?
So the day 1 review is written, focusing mainly on the Queen Anne and how ridiculously slow they went, but also as a bit of analysis of kind of like the times and looking at what we'd expect. That will be published, and I'll tweet it probably tomorrow morning. Just out of interest, if you are listening to this, and I'm not sure when it's going to be published, but the Day One Times would suggest that it's good to firm ground, but it's not unbearably quick. Several of these times today were below the expected time. Now, the Queen Anne was just a joke. They went far too slowly, but it's not yet rattling quick.
Okay.
But it might be with the weather.
Well, it's a dry week and Ascot dries, so they've obviously done all they can to put that water on, but that's interesting because every trainer we spoke to on TalkSport 2 today was loving the ground. It's like, more of good to firm going conditions, please. Have you heard that? Clerks of the course, good to firm, fast ground. Thanks very much. All right, from Adam Mills, Andy Newton, and me, Emmet Kennedy, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to us, please do so now. It's a massive help with the algorithm, as is your liking this video. All you got to do is hit that like button. It'll cost you nothing, but it does us a huge favor. From Adam Mills, Andy Newton, and me, Emmet Kennedy, we will talk to you very, very soon on the Final Furlong Podcast. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
In horse racing, every furlong matters and every episode counts. So stay ahead of the field by hitting subscribe to the Final Furlong Podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. It's free and it gets you one step closer to the winner's enclosure. Subscribe to the Final Furlong Podcast and join us on the gravy train.